Government is concerned about the high levels of household debt and over-indebtedness. In addition to broader financial sector regulatory reforms, they say an immediate set of comprehensive steps is necessary to deal with the problem of present and future household over-indebtedness. David Willem, former CFO of ABLE, joins us on the line now for more. David, looking at some of the announcements that have come through from government and the pointers that they've given, I take it this is a positive, as you yourself have also been calling for more involvement from government regarding curbing over-indebtedness.
Yes, thank you, Gugu. I think it's a very encouraging statement, and what I'm most pleased about is that the statement was actually put out after a cabinet meeting, a full cabinet meeting, and so we can take from this that this issue really has been escalated now to one of national importance, and the cabinet have authorized both the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Trade and Industry, who together cover all the regulatory functions that govern the credit markets. And so we are very encouraged that and hopeful that we can now see some concrete steps towards dealing with these very concerning issues.
Take us through the two big issues, starting with reckless lending.
I think, we've discussed this before, and I think reckless lending has been a major problem since really the introduction of the NCA, in that it was never clearly defined how and what would construe an affordability test. There was a very kind of objective or subjective test. And what we've seen in the last 6 years is credit providers continually pushing the envelope, so to speak, and increasingly lending people larger and larger amounts for longer and longer terms, and increasingly taking up larger proportions of their net pay. And we've been calling for some time in the firm that I'm involved with, Summit Financial Partners, say we need an objective test so that there's a level playing field. Because if one lender were to be responsible, a large lender were to be responsible and pull back on lending, all that happens is other lenders come over the top and use that affordability to make further loans. And so we need everybody to be on the same level playing field with one clear set of rules that make sure that only a certain proportion of people's income can be allocated to lending or committed to lending repayments.
That's good news, David. The issue that many are talking about within the industry, though, is the interest rates are regulated. Everybody knows that. But this insurance, the personal insurance that is sometimes put onto the loans, is not regulated. And in fact, and we've seen instances, for instance, I think you've even reported it yourself, a company like Lewis going over the top here. Is there anything in what the DTI and Treasury has said to address this?
They make a statement where they talk about reviewing the regulatory framework for credit insurance policies. I have to say it's a little bit vague, and really one can't read into this anything concrete. And so there's still, I would say, a lot of work that needs to follow in the new year to turn these statements of intent into concrete, actionable steps. But I'm encouraged that they have now put a marker down, and we really hope that they will follow up with, committed actions, because we really do need, for these issues now to be dealt with.
David, looking at government also calling for all corporates and companies to investigate the legitimacy of Garnishee orders, surely this is a big game changer after what we've seen in the mining industry in Rustenburg.
Yes, I think it's a very powerful statement they've used here, because one can regulate, but really what they're doing is harnessing the power of corporates, the many thousands of corporates out there who are a party to these emolument attachment orders, and encouraging them to use either their own internal processes or, for that matter, companies like ourselves and other companies who provide outsourced administration services to audit and to validate these garnishees to ensure that they are not abusive practices. And government have said that they are going to lead by example and implement similar proposals early next year. So I think this is a huge step where employers can take a much more proactive role in protecting ordinary citizens of South Africa by providing these type of protectionist mechanisms. They have the power to do it, and I think it's something that can be widened to beyond just the EAOs, and we think employers are going to play a critical role in helping their employees to have a better protection and manage their financial affairs better going forward.
What's the implication of all of this, or likely to be, on the listed companies, Transaction Capital, Capitec, and your old firm, Able?
I think that, personally, I think that a more legitimate industry with clearer guidelines will be good for the industry in the medium to long term, because it will eliminate the growing number of small and unscrupulous players who are acting with total impunity to the law. And whilst some of the bigger players are really trying hard to play by the rules, it's very, very difficult when others are playing dirty around you. So yes, there will be some adjustments by the big players. They're going to have to modify some of their business practices, and most certainly on reckless lending, there's going to have to be a more considered approach to how much you can lend. But I really do believe that the long-term sustainability of the industry will be significantly enhanced by these measures and will result in a more profitable and a more stable industry going forward.
Thank you, Dave. David Woolham, the former Chief Financial Officer of Able.